What happened? We're good?
We're live. Quiet.
Okay, Chavetz, this is Chis for Akiva Simcha ben Feiga for Zivugim for Chav Bas Miriam, Hov Bas Hem, and Davidaria ben Pnina Pearl. Okay. Oh, man. I gotta let you say it because otherwise it's just gonna tell my. You have it the flow, so you got it.
Much better.
Baruch Hashem. Okay, so we're gonna continue from yesterday. Basically, the goal is to chazer from where we started originally till where we're up to now, and that way we go into Pesach and sort of have it, the capability of learning smoothly. What? Yeah, thank you. Also, we will Amir Hashem be doing a two 250 raffles for the. All you have to do is over the Yom Tov Bein next week really, and the whole Yom Tov. Just from the beginning till we're up to, you learn it, you chazer it, it's done, one time. All you have to do is learn it one time, from the beginning till we're up to, Ben Azmanim. And there's going to be 2 raffles for 250 after Yom Tov. Anyways, so that's this, there's no Chazara raffle, this is the... No, it's the same. So no problem, you are exactly. No. Don't mess with my people. Don't mess with my people. Okay, guys. So we're starting the top of Chaf Alpha and Beis. We were in the middle of discussing about the children that were on top of the oxen, and the Rabbi Yehuda is the one that said that you can't have a. What did Rabbi Yehuda say? He said there has to be man-made. Then we brought the case, this whole big case to tell you what do you mean oxen are not man-made. So there's doors. There's Abaya said, Lo Yehutzerchu Levi Dlasis, and Rava says. So now we're going to continue, and we are on the top line, third word. Here we go. Tanya Kavase de Rabba. So we're going to bring a brisa. I realized after. Sorry, my problem no free pass. Tanya Kavase de Rabba. So Rabbi Yehuda says we're bringing a brisa that sort of supports and is proof to Rava. That it says, so he says like this, Rabbi Yehuda we wouldn't bring doors at all. Because what happens, if they would have a door, then the kid would feel confident on the door. Let's say you have a door on top of an animal and it was tied down well, he would have a certain type of confidence, lean over, and then he'll get tummy from kivatayim, and that's the problem. Perhaps he's going to reach out with his head or one of his limbs, his arms, whatever, and become tummy because of keratayim. Ella, mevin shvarim, rather, so what does he say? What would they bring? They would bring oxen. What type of oxen? Special oxen. Shvarim hamitzriyim, shakrisesein rechavis, that they had super wide backs. Now the kids, when they would be on the ox, they would not be as secure, as comfortable, and they would sort of hold them tight, and the ox was wide enough that they wouldn't lean over and it wouldn't become a problem. So, that the children would sit on their backs, the koises shalev bidem, and cups of stone would be in their hands. When they would come to the spring, to the well, wherever the water was, yardu umilam va'alu. They would go down, umilam they would fill it up, va'alu, and they would go back, v'yashvu lahen al gabein, and they'd return back onto their backs. So this is what he says. Hare. So now we're going to say like this. We're going to ask, okay, that's all great. We got this, we understand, we have a proof to Rava, but a bed, let's go back. We just said that Rabbi Yehuda says that if it has Kamar Greifin, then that would be okay. And it does not need to be man-made. So Rabbi Yehuda, by us in our Mishnah, said that it would be good to sleep underneath the bed, meaning that the bed is not a good oil. But if that's the case, a bed is has Kamar Greifin. It would be enough, according to Rabbi Yehuda, to be an oil. So we're going to ask, Hare v'hare mita, diyesh b'kama greifin, what are we going to do there? So, v'tanan. So we learned in our Mishnah, Rabbi Yehuda Omer, noigim mahinu, shehini yishim tachzamita, b'fnei hazkenim. So this is all part of the question. Rabbi Yehuda in our Mishnah says that we would sleep underneath the bed, and it was okay, meaning you're yotzedim it's in the sukkah, meaning that the bed is not a good oil. But Rabbi Yehuda, according to his letamei, according to him, if it has kama greifim, it would be a good enough oil. So why isn't it not over there? So we're going to answer, shiny mita, hoyol, ulagaba, asuya. A bed is different. Why? Because really it's not an oil, because really the bed is meant for the top, not for the bottom. So what are we going to do? We're going to come with the obvious question. What about the oxen? Right? So shvarim nami ligaban asuyim. So too oxen, what's their usage on top of them, to sit on top of them? So we're going to say, so good question. Comes Ravin. So Kiyasa Ravin Amar Belazar. So Ravin comes from Eretz Yisrael and he says the name of Rabbi Belazar. Shiny Shvarim Hoyl Umaginim Ala Royim Bechama. Why? They're different because they have a usage. They protect their shepherds from the heat. The Pnei Chama underneath the sun because of the heat. Or during the rainy season from the rain. So there's a usage for it. So now we're going to go back again. If so, Mitanami, a bed also has a usage. So too, a bed has a usage, and it should be considered an oil. Why? Because underneath it, it's protecting shoes, sandals, and so on. So now we're going to say, Rava says, Shiny Shivam. No, the accent are different. They're really different. Why? Not just because they have a usage. That because they're sort of built into them a usage. It's not, okay, we're going to use it for something, we'll decide we can lay underneath it from the rain or from the sun. No, it actually has something built in that it protects. What? It protects its own innards. Shenemar, it says in the pasuk, Aru basar talbisheni, with skin and flesh you're going to cloak me or clothe me with. Ubat samais vegidim tesechecheni, and with bones and tendons you're going to be mesachech me. And you see uses of lashon schach, covering, protecting. So you see that the ox has a built-in protective feature, let's call it, and therefore an ox is different than a bed. So even though a bed has usage underneath it, but it's sort of not built in because beds could go to the bottom and so on. Okay. That's the end of this portion. Now we're going to continue, and we're going to give another way to answer Rabbi Yehuda and another way to explain him. So we're going to say it like this: V'iba Yisema, if you want to say another way to explain why Rabbi Yehuda says that you could sleep underneath the bed in the sukkah, be yotzei the mitzvah, and yet it's an oil. How could that be? Because V'iba Yisema Rabbi Yehuda Tamei. If you want to say Rabbi Yehuda according to his reasoning, the Amar Sukkah diras keva binan. Why? Because he says a sukkah has to be a diras keva. V'havale mita diras arai, and a bed is a diras arai. V'sukkah oil keva, and a bed in a sukkah is oil keva. V'le'osi oil arai mevatel oil keva. Basically, you're not going to have a temporary structure, which is a bed, which is movable, a lot more movable than a sukkah. You have many people, even in these days, you sleep in the sukkah, but what do they have? The beds go in and out, right? But the sukkah, you're not really moving once it's there for Yom Tov. Again, of course, there's pop-up sukkahs and all that, but we're talking about, in general, it's a lot more, I thought that was me, but in general, it's a lot more sturdy. It's a lot more, not sturdy, keva, stable. So, v'lo asi al arai mevatel el keva. And what do we say? You're not going to have a arai be mevatel el keva. Think about it like this. If, let's say, we have a tent, and my kids in the summer wanted to go on and sleep in a tent, and they didn't want to sleep outside. So we put in our sunroom, put the tent, they slept in the tent in the house. So where are the kids? Are they in the house or in the tent? They're in the house. They happen to be in a tent in the house. They're in the house. Same thing. You're in the sukkah, even though you're underneath the bed, but you're in the sukkah, and that's Rabbi Yehuda's concept. V'ha Reb Shimon. So now we're going to go. Great, very good. Rabbi Yehuda has his concept, but who argues on him? Reb Shimon. And what does Reb Shimon say? Reb Shimon also says it needs to be keva. So how does he say that it would be no good if it needs to be like that? So he says like this: V'ha Reb Shimon da Amar Nami Sukkah diras keva bina. Reb Shimon says a sukkah has to be diras keva. V'asi oil arai mevatel keva. But he says that an oil arai sleeping underneath the bed would be mevatel keva. So what do we say? Ein baha pligi. Yes, this is what they're arguing. Mar savar asi oil arai mevatel keva. Mar savar lo asi oil arai mevatel keva. Basically, this is the entire argument. The Mishnah brought the argument from Rabbi Yehuda, Reb Shimon, the Tanna Kama. This is exactly the argument. So we went through a whole bunch of back and forth, but the bottom line is they're arguing. They both agree sukkah needs to be a keva. They both agree the bed is arai, but what's the argument? Rabbi Yehuda says that it cannot be mevatel. Reb Shimon says it can be mevatel. That is the entire thing in one sentence. Okay. So now we're going to go further in the Mishnah, and this is the story of Tevi, the Eved of Rabban Gamliel. Reb Shimon. Reb Shimon says, Maise b'Tevi Avdei. That's the Mishnah. Now we're going to say the Gemara. Tanya, we have a brisa. Reb Shimon, Reb Shimon, Misichasei Rabban Gamliel. Reb Shimon says, from the sicha, from the shmuzing of Rabban Gamliel, Lamadnu Shnei Dvarim, we learned two things. Lamadnu Shalvadim Turim in the Sukkah, Vilamanu sheyoshin tachas amita lo yatzidei chavasi. We learn two things: that an eved is part from the sukkah, and someone who sleeps beneath the sukkah is not Yetzes mitzvah. V'leima midvarov. So now we're just going to try to get technical. Why did it say misichasei? Let him say from his words. So v'leima midvarov shalom gamliel. So why did it say it this way? To teach us milsa agav urcha. To teach us something. It was like a side note. He did not say it to be a teaching. And Rashi says he said it even as a jokey form. He was making a joke or whatever it was. But you have to know that when it comes to Talmidei Chacham, they say stuff, it's legit. So, Kamash Malon, and that's why we have it. So, Kihada Amar Vachbar Ada. So this there, Vachbar Ada says, Va'amila Amar Vachbar Ada Amar Rav Amnuna Amar Rav. It's a long 2 lines just saying who said the name of who. But basically, Rav says, Minayin Shafil Sichas Talmidei Chacham Tzichan Limud. Where do we know that the conversations of Talmidei Chacham need to be taught and learned in depth? Shenemar, it says in the pasuk, Va'aleu lo yibol, and that the leaves will not wither. Meaning the leaves are the weakest part or of the branches of the trees, and when dried up they wither. It says Va'aleu lo yibol. Okay. Now, new Mishnah. Someone who puts the sukkah on the bedpost. Ksher, it's kosher. Very simple. Rabbi Yehuda says, Rabbi Yehuda says, if it can't stand on its own, it's possible. Okay, now the Gemara is going to go in and explain this whole thing. My time, Rabbi Yehuda. What's the reason of Rabbi Yehuda? Pligi bar Rabbi Zera, Rabbi Abba bar Mamel. Rabbi Zera and Rabbi Abba bar Mamel argue, and they basically argue on what Rabbi Yehuda says. And what do they say? Chad Amar mepnei she'en la keva. One says the reason why Rabbi Yehuda says it's possible is because it's not keva. V'chad Amar mepnei she'en mida b'davar mekabel tuma. Because it's standing on sentence mekabel tuma. My beinai, what's the difference between them? Kegoin shenat shepudin shalbazel. That if you take spikes of metal, put them into the ground, right? V'sichach aleim, and you put schach on top of them. So that's the difference. According to the one that says the reason why Rabbi Yehuda says it's no good is because it doesn't have keva, it has keva, so it should be good. So you'll see one would say it's kosher, one would say it's not, based on their interpretation of Rabbi Yehuda. Amar Abaya. So basically, just a quick recap on this little thing. The Mishnah says, if you put a sukkah on top of karimita, it's no good. Rabbi Yehuda says it is good. I'm sorry. The Mishnah says it is good. Rabbi Yehuda says if it cannot stand on its own, it's no good. And now we're just interpreting what he says. One person says because it's on top of something mikabel tuma, and one says keva. That's it. Fine. Amar Abai says, Lo Shana, we didn't learn this el samach. If he sort of put it directly on top of it. Aval sichech agav hamita kshero. Now we explain what is that sichech agav hamita. We said, I don't know if you remember, that basically it's on top of it, but not on top of it, that if you can move the bed in and out from beneath it, it's sort of suspended in the air over it, correct. Ksher, that would be kosher. My time, what's the reason? Leman damar lefishen lakeva, harish lakeva. Leman damar pnesham amida b'davar mekabel tomo, hare eim amida b'davar mekabel tomo. Very straightforward, very simple. And now we're going to move on to the next Mishnah. But what will be on time?
14 minutes.
Okay, we'll just do the Mishnah and maybe 2-3 lines, and that'll be it for today. Sukka hamidavlelis. I don't know if you guys remember Sukka hamidavlelis. That is the staggered Sukkah. We had all the fun stuff, but basically, just to remember, it's a Sukkah that we don't know yet what midavlelis is, but we're going to say it's either it's a poor Sukkah, meaning it's very gappy, a lot of space, or it's staggered, one up, one down. That's pretty much the gist of it. Ksher, it's kosher. If it is thick, if the schach is as thick as a house, even if you cannot see the schach from, even if you cannot see the stars, thank you, from inside, ksher, it's kosher. Now comes the Gemara. My midavlelis, Amar Rav says, sukkah, it's a poor sukkah, meaning it's going to have a lot of gaps. Ushmuel Amar, Shmuel says, kana oila v'kana yered. Have one beam up, one beam down, like a staggered, like we said. Rav tani chada, Ushmuel tani tarti. Rav learned one thing out of it, and Shmuel learned 2 things. Rav tani chada, sukkah midavlelis, my midavlelis, midavlelis. Rav learned one thing out of the Mishnah from this sign. And Shmuel, correct. And Shmuel learned two things out of the Mishnah. Adoration, correct. Because the Sefer is going to talk about this, the thick. Correct. But Rav is learning one thing out of this line, this first line. Shmuel's going to learn two things out of it. So Rav Tanichada, he learns one thing. Sukka miduvlalas, my miduvlalas. What is the touch of miduvlalas? Miduvlalas, poor. Shatilas mechamasa. That it's poor, and this the shade is more than no. If the shade now continues, if the shade is more than the sun, ksher would be good. That's it. Rav says one thing. If it's a poor man's sukkah and the shade is more than the sun, that would be good. You trying to like what do you like? Live on here. Like what, you trying to get burnt? Okay. Then we're gonna do two more lines of Shmuel and then we're done. With Shmuel Tani Tati, and Shmuel learns two things. My midivlalis, what's midivlalis? Mibel belis, all mixed up. Vitati Ketani, you learn two things. Sukka mibel belis kshera. If it's a staggered schach, it is kosher. Vishatzilasim mechamatza kshera. And if the shade is more than sunlight, even if it's mamish way out of whack with the gaps, it would be kosher. Our boys say, have a wonderful night, and we'll Bez Hashem continue from here tomorrow.